Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. J.D. Power ranks Sleep Number #1 in customer satisfaction with mattresses purchased in-store and online. And now, all mattresses are on sale. Plus, free home delivery during our Cyber Week sale. Limited time. For J.D. Power 2025 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. Check it out at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com today.
AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Yusu. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. We have a plumb ton to do. Shea Dixon here in 15 minutes. Peter Burns next hour. Let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
Just very quickly as we start, let me get you a little bit of breaking news here. This just in the last 20 minutes or so. From out at LSU. LSU head coach Lane Kiffin. Whew, used to that. LSU head coach Lane Kiffin has released a statement that LSU offensive coordinator Charlie Weis will coach Ole Miss in the college football playoff despite being hired at LSU. We have this full statement and story up at louisianasports.net. But the statement reads, with the playoff committee releasing updated rankings tonight, I want it to be known that after conversations with LSU, we are allowing Charlie to return to Ole Miss to coach the team during the playoffs. I've already made the committee aware of this, and I'm hopeful this decision will allow Ole Miss to receive the highest ranking possible because these great players are very deserving of that. I'm excited that Charlie will be back to help coach the greatest team in the history of Ole Miss. And it's all there at louisianasports.net. If you want to read it for free, everything free, always over at louisianasports.net. I'll react to that a bit more. I love the decision. I think that just on its face, this is going to look very good for Lane Kiffin and very bad for Ole Miss. Flatly. I mean, Ole Miss's whole reason why they wouldn't let Lane Kiffin coach is you can't coach the team if you're the LSU head coach. Well, Charlie Weis has signed a contract with LSU. He signed a 3-year, $6 million contract. He's LSU's offensive coordinator who's going to be coaching Ole Miss in the playoff. I mean, it's a total contradiction. Continues to. I'm not saying Lane Kiffin is inculpable in all this. I mean, it was a mess and everybody has some share of blame, but this only further illustrates the contradiction there at Ole Miss and how poorly they handled the whole thing. In any event, we'll talk about this more a bit later because there's more pressing things at hand. The single biggest task Lane Kiffin has right now is to finish his first staff at LSU. The next biggest, of course, is going to be the early signing period on Wednesday. Well, there are some things that we already know about Lane Kiffin's staff that are coming together, like a lot of the offensive staff he's bringing. Charlie Weis Jr., George McDonald, the receivers coach. There's others. And as I have learned, Lane Kiffin has extended the opportunity to Blake Baker to stay on staff as LSU's defensive coordinator. I don't think that's any surprise to anyone. They met. Lane Kiffin wants to proceed with Baker and this defensive staff. This is complicated because Blake Baker on Monday interviewed for Tulane's vacant head coaching job. Now, a little bit of the backstory, if you're not aware, Blake Baker, who's from Houston, played at Tulane from 2000 to 2004. He was a linebacker there. So this is his alma mater. It's a vacant job, and he interviewed for it on Monday. It's also worth noting that a year ago, John Sumrall was very close to getting the North Carolina job. The Tar Heels ended up hiring, Bill Belichick. Had Sumrall gotten that job, Baker had kind of made it known, and it was known in a lot of circles that Baker was going to be one of the top candidates for that Tulane job last year. So it's not surprising at all that he interviewed and is a person of interest to Tulane in that job. For whatever it's worth, I've heard Shannon Dawson connected, heard Billy Napier as a person of interest. It is important to note that the last two coaches, Sumrall and Fritz, both were head coaches before they got the Tulane job. So Tulane hired sitting head coaches. So that's something that matters to Tulane. Just something worth keeping in mind there. This is going to be an interesting decision for Blake Baker if Tulane offers the job. Now, when Lane Kiffin on Monday met at his introductory press conference, he was asked about the staff. He was really non-committal. He didn't say very much, but this was his very short answer on the staff.
I don't know that I can get into it. There's so many things. What have we been here for 24 hours? So I don't know that all that is figured out, and we're still in the process. And it's a challenging spot, too, because LSU is still playing in a bowl game, too. And so Frank will continue to serve in that role. We've spent a lot of time together, the last 24 hours as I've been here. And so have made the decision that he's going to still stay in that role as the head coach of that team for the bowl game. So there's a lot of complicated moving parts in that.
So the one thing we know is Frank will coach the bowl game. Everything else, he was sort of evasive, not committing to anything. And some of the things we've talked about a bit here that have come to light. But for Blake Baker, I can tell you this. LSU is working to keep Blake Baker. And as of me coming on the air here today, the latest I heard from contacts at LSU is they were confident Blake Baker was going to stay and that LSU was willing to be competitive financially. So John Sumrall was making $3 million a year as the Tulane head coach. He left for Florida, is getting $7.5. God bless you. You doubled your salary. Baker is making $2.5 at LSU. So could they push him closer to or over $3 million? Maybe. One conversation I had last night with a high-level donor at LSU was that, and it was not Gordon. I think everyone always just assumes that, but that a lot of the donors at LSU are stepping up big time. And you can understand that. There's a ton of excitement, not just for NIL opportunities, but for staff and basically everything Lane Kiffin needs right now. You pulled off this major coup. So if you need to get Blake Baker to $3 million, I think they're going to be able to do that. And I believe from the LSU perspective, they are confident Blake Baker is going to remain their defensive coordinator. It is not, but it is important to note, it is, as I understand as of right now, but before I was outside coming on air, as I understand it, there has not yet been a signed contract with Blake Baker to extend him and keep him in Baton Rouge. But I believe he's leaning toward that. As a matter of fact, we reported earlier today at LouisianaSports.net that Blake Baker was on the phone this morning with Lane Kiffin and Richard Anderson, five-star defensive tackle out of New Orleans, trying to make sure that they secure his signature on Wednesday in the early signing period. So something that's up in the air right now without a defensive line coach in play, and Frank Wilson's future still very much in doubt. More on that, though. So Blake Baker is continuing working for LSU. There's a lot of confidence around LSU that Blake Baker is going to stay. There's motivation to keep him there. There's confidence they'll be able to do that. They're willing to be financially competitive with whatever Tulane is willing to pay. Sumrall was making $3. Maybe they go north of that. I don't know what those numbers will look like. I just know that LSU wants to keep Blake Baker, and they're finding ways to be competitive. For Blake Baker, he's really got a couple of decisions here. Do you want to try it? And he has said on the record so many times that he wants to be a head coach, and that's no surprise to anybody. But does he want to go the power 4 defensive coordinator to power 4 head coach route? Or do you want to go get your first head coaching job in a G6 and then hopefully springboard that into a power 4 job like we just saw John Sumrall do? Now, that was Sumrall's second job. He was at Troy, then Tulane. But if Baker goes to Tulane, which the last two coaches have been wildly successful there, with Fritz, who parlayed that into the Houston job, which remember now is in the Big 12, and Summerall now at Florida, making $7.5 million a year after 2 years at Tulane. Blake Baker's walking into a situation where you have a really established, stable program, seemingly ready-made for success. His alma mater, he knows Louisiana. It's a lot of reasons he could have success there and springboard that into a major offer in a couple of years. Or does he stay put at LSU and try to go the route of Dan Lanning from Georgia to Oregon, or Kirby Smart from Alabama to Georgia? There's so many examples of the Power 4 coordinators that have gotten major head coaching jobs. Marcus Freeman at Notre Dame, Ryan Day at Ohio State, Sharon Moore at Michigan. Look, Dave Aranda did it. He went from LSU to Baylor. Now, Baylor's not a top 20 job in the country, maybe not even a top 30 job in the country, but is it somewhere in that top 40? You talk about the Power 4? Yeah, certainly it is. So Baker's just going to have to make that decision. And we all know the family dynamics there as well. Blake's wife played soccer at LSU. She's from the North Shore. So you're tap dancing all around it. But as I understand it, the Baker children, they're in school in Baton Rouge and love Baton Rouge, and they love LSU. And it would be amazing if Baker could stay. And certainly the thing that they could sell him is, look, the thing that frustrated you this year with having no offensive help, that will not be the case next year, where the defense would have to do everything because you're going to have Lane Kiffin's offense, and everywhere he goes, offense follows. So this is going to come down to, number one, does Tulane formally offer Blake Baker the job? And then if they do, does he want to be a head coach, or can LSU entice him to stay? It is worth noting, just something to keep an eye on with the Baker story. If he does go, I'm told he would likely bring with him Jake Olson and Kevin Peoples. Remember, those were assistants on his defensive staff at Missouri who came to Baton Rouge. So you would then, again, bold underscore, if Baker were to take the Tulane job, you'd be losing your defensive coordinator, your safeties coach, your edges coach, and we still don't know Kyle Williams' future, which is up in the air. I don't know if Kyle Williams is going to continue coaching collegiately. So you'd be losing at least 3, possibly 4 members of your defensive staff, in addition to the turnover offensively with Lane's staff coming in. So still a lot up in the air and unknown at that point. There's always the question of who's next, right? If Baker were to leave, and again, big, giant if, but sometimes the most obvious name is obvious for a reason. The name I would tell you is DJ Durkin. Was just the interim head coach at Auburn. Yeah, Durkin was, as I understand, very upset that he did not get the full-time job at Auburn, and was also on Lane Kiffin's staff for a couple of seasons during Kiffin's early years at Ole Miss as his defensive coordinator. So the relationship there, the experience in the SEC, good defensive mind, all of that stuff, that's one name worth keeping an eye on if you get to the point where Baker leaves LSU for Tulane. But as of right now, I think LSU is pretty confident that they're going to be able to keep Blake Baker here. But if Tulane offers him that job, I think we could all understand if he were to take it. So we'll continue to follow that as it plays out. Blake Baker's future, little cloudy right now, whether he returns to LSU or gets his first head coaching job at his alma mater down in New Orleans. Okay, our show open every day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR, the official beer of your Fighting Tigers of LSU. As a matter of fact, make sure you still find them all over town. Those officially licensed cans in 16-ounce aluminum bottles with the Tiger head logo, hat tip to LSU's tradition of wearing white at home. It's a white Bud Light can. Can't miss it. Or if you're at your favorite restaurant, bar, watering hole, whatever it is, make sure you ask for it by name. Drink plenty of delicious, ice-cold Bud Light, the official beer of AFR. All right, y'all, it's After Further Review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here on this Tuesday edition of AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. It has been an eventful day here on the eve of the early signing period. LSU has lost a commitment, gained a commitment, and arguably their biggest commitment is in limbo. We'll get to all that with Shea Dixon next here on AFR.
AFR.
We're brought to you by the Watermark.
AFR is brought to you by the Watermark Hotel and the...
We're brought to you by the Watermark and the Renaissance. Watermark downtown, Renaissance Southtown. Weird. It's like it was so good I had to say it twice. Hey, look, Baton Rouge's premier hotel property is Watermark Baton Rouge. Downtown Baton Rouge, there on 3rd Street, the picture of luxury. You walk in and you see all the beautiful marble, all the history of that building, which just celebrated its centennial. The building's been around for 100 years now. The original high-rise in downtown Baton Rouge, which is the old Louisiana National Bank building, which is now Watermark Baton Rouge. From the plush, luxurious guest rooms to the Gregory, the restaurant right there in the lobby of Watermark Baton Rouge, all the way throughout. You go down the staircase underneath the lobby there, and you'll see all the old bank vaults, which have been hollowed out into beautiful meeting rooms for private dining spaces. It's Watermark Baton Rouge. Experience it today in downtown. It's Watermark Baton Rouge.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
I'm glad you're with us. We always appreciate our friends at Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Learn more at sunequip.com. Sunequip.com. Newest location going up right there on Pico in Baton Rouge. Excited. Get to pass it every day on my way home. Excited for that thing to open up. All right, we got Shea Dixon coming up here in just a quick second from On 3. One quick note that we are reporting over at LouisianaSports.net. And remember, always, you can get everything free over at LouisianaSports.net. There's a few more staff additions that are coming to Baton Rouge from Ole Miss. These are support staff members. I learned today that 3 support staff members, Lou Spanos, who's a defensive analyst, Dane Stevens, who's an offensive pass game analyst, and Donnie Both, who is an offensive analyst. Those 3 have joined Lane Kiffin's support staff in Baton Rouge. They are here at Football Ops now. So, I don't know like at this literal very minute, but they're in Baton Rouge. So they are joining Lane Kiffin's support staff. So he continues to build not only his on-field staff, but his support staff. And as we know and learn more, we'll keep you posted. And as always, you can check out all this news over at LouisianaSports.net. You want Cruton news, you want Shea Dixon, On 3 the Bengal Tiger, of course, part of the Rivals Network there as well. Shea's with us as he is every Tuesday. Shady, how are you, man? Let's just call him. Let's call him. Okay. It's okay. Calm down. It's okay. Just call him. All right. There's a lot I want to talk about with Shea because LSU gained a commitment. They flipped a tight end from Ole Miss. They lost a commitment in offensive lineman Jalen Chapman from Warren Easton in New Orleans. He's been committed for more than a year, since the summer of 24. So like a year and a half he's been committed. And it feels like that's an example of maybe he was the lowest rated prospect in the class, and maybe an example of a guy being purged out of the class. You hate to say it that way, but it kind of feels like that's what's happening here. And then we obviously there's a big question around Richard Anderson right now as well. Okay, we have Shea. Shady, how are you, man? I
am busy on this early signing period. The NCAA. If people want to get mad right now, we're all about to talk about be mad at the NCAA because this calendar of a December 3rd signing period for high school kids, when you hire a head coach right when the season ends, gives you about 3 days, and a new staff has a vision of what they want, and the old staff has a vision of what they set up, and those are not always going to line up.
I think that's pretty evident based on what's happened here just in the last few hours. Okay, let's start, if we could, Shea, with tight end J.C. Anderson. So this is the first flip of the Lane Kiffin, or the first commitment of the Lane Kiffin era. What can you tell us about J.C. Anderson?
Yeah, he is a 4-star tight end, a guy that had been committed to Ole Miss. Co-offensive coordinator, tight ends coach Joe Cox had been spearheading that. Charlie Weiss was a secondary recruiter there as well. And it became evident he's from Illinois, right when that staff change happened, those guys left. He said, hey, if I've got a spot at LSU, get down there, let me know. They did. They made everything work. They got paperwork over to him to sign tomorrow, so he went ahead and made the flip official. So a very much a need position, 6'6", 230, ranked as the number 11 tight end in the country on the Rivals industry rankings. So the first commitment of the Lane Kiffin era, no shocker, is a flip from Ole Miss.
Yeah, I anticipate we'll probably see more of these in the coming, certainly the coming days and weeks. Let me ask about Jalen Chapman, who was the lowest rated prospect in the LSU class. And Shea, I can't help but think about what we heard Lane Kiffin say on Monday, where he said they weren't just going to take guys because they went to a certain school, and they weren't going to take guys just to take guys. It feels like this is a purge. What can you tell us about what happened here with Chapman?
I think it's just a situation, Matt, where the new staff comes in, evaluates the commitment list, and says this is probably best for both parties if we go in different directions. And the timing of it, obviously, the day before a 3-day window of an early signing period is a bit unfortunate. There is the February signing period, but this is the kind of stuff that happens each year, even if there's not a coaching change. We see kind of late ads and attrition happen. But when you do have a coaching change and you've brought with it so far, as you just noted, not just on-field staffers, off-field staffers, all of them are going to have a view of what they want this recruiting class to look like. So things are moving very quickly, and a lot of these guys are being informed of this right now, within 24 hours of, expecting to sign with LSU.
And as I noticed here, literally since we started the show, Shea, there's another one in wide receiver Kenny Darby. This one surprises me as a really highly rated guy. What can you tell us what you know about Kenny Darby's decommitment?
This was another one where the new staff just said, hey, look, we're going to go in a different direction. And it's Kenny Darby had been shut down his recruitment multiple times. He had Bama and many others interested in him over the summer. He had stood firm with this commitment. And we can talk about this. There's a wave of receivers that I do think they add here. So the decision to not sign Kenny Darby and in turn Kenny Darby have to reopen his process will lead to him. He's got some other options. He found out about things, and quickly coaches have reached out. So he'll find a landing spot, but it will not be at LSU, which we did not anticipate before today. And I can say the same for a lot of what's going on. And I can tell you, Matt, I haven't experienced this where you have a staff change, because it wasn't like that with Orgeron. It was really a continuation of the staff with some guys let go. At least on offense, this is more wholesale. We don't know the future of the defensive staff, and you've got opinions, rightfully so, right? You've hired Lane Kiffin. You've allowed him to hire a staff. Those guys get to make the decisions now. So we're just seeing I don't want to call it the fallout, but the results of those decisions playing out right before signing day, which is just not something you're used to. So I said it earlier this week. I got a feeling that the signing class was going to look a lot different than it did to start the week, and that's very much proving to be the case here.
Okay, Shea, you did, and Shea Dixon's with us on 3, the Bengal Tiger, of course, part of the Rivals Network there. Get him at Shea Dixon. You mentioned receivers, so Darby out. What are we anticipating here?
I would look for twofold. One, Braden Allen, who is a Louisiana receiver that decommitted from Oklahoma, had gotten an offer from the prior staff, and they had set everything up. He went up on Sunday with his family, met with Lane Kiffin. I do think that they're going to sign him. At the same time, I would expect them to go ahead and push to sign another player who had been very much kind of high on the Ole Miss board. And let me grab his name real quick. We're all over the place.
I understand. Take your time. You're good.
Yeah, let's see. Where are we here? That's not him. It is. Sorry for the delay, but that's what happens in recruiting and in real time here. Corey Barber. So Corey Barber is a 4-star receiver. He's out of Alabama. He's a Spain Park kid, which is a pretty notable school over in Clay Chalkville in that Pinson area. He had been committed to Ole Miss. He decommitted as soon as the staff changes happened. He is top 30 receiver, top 10 player in Alabama. Rivals has him right on the cusp of being a top 150 player overall in the country. We've got him as a top 20 receiver. So really good player. Ole Miss views him as that. So Ole Miss says, all right, decommit, come down here. All the NIL rev share that we could have agreed to then at Ole Miss, we can do that here for you. And they quickly have put together paperwork to send to guys like him, to send to guys like J.C. Anderson, who already announced his flip. So, yes, I would expect that Corey Barber would be another receiver they add to this class. And they are starting this new staff to go back to some receivers that LSU had been recruiting in the past. So do we see them able to kind of get guys to delay their decisions, pull off midnight flips? Like, all of this is a reality right now. And I think that by the, not even hour, by the minute right now, we are finding out who is going to be in LSU's class and not. And it's kind of Matt, this is the nature of doing business. And it sucks for the guys who aren't able to sign. And then you kind of have to get used to who are these guys that we haven't even been talking about because LSU didn't recruit them. But this isn't the old LSU staff. This is the Ole Miss staff. And from talking to people around LSU, Matt, who have ties to how everything's unfolding, the opinion is we gave Lane Kiffin the keys. It's his decision. Whatever he and this staff see fit, that's what's going to unfold here for signing day.
Shea Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger, at Shea Dixon. Let me ask you about Richard Anderson, and this might be a bigger picture question about Frank Wilson, but we reported earlier today that Anderson had a phone call with Blake Baker and Lane Kiffin, and that he, with his representation, had decided to delay his announcement until he knows who his position coach is going to be and if Frank Wilson's going to be on staff. Is there anything further that you can tell us as this day has developed about Richard Anderson's status and what may happen tomorrow?
Yeah, look, so we're in a dead period, so recruits can't go face-to-face. He didn't get a chance to meet with Lane on Sunday when Lane arrived. But other people, look, there's agents involved, but it's very well known. Bryce Brown is one of the most recognizable head coaches in high school football in Louisiana. He's been a long-time Ed Nicar coach. He's got a lot of connections in New Orleans, a lot of kids on LSU's team right now, but also multiple commits to LSU. You've got Richard Anderson, the number 1 D lineman, a 5-star on Rivals, one of LSU's commits. You've also got Aiden Hall, who's a 4-star safety committed. What does the future hold for Aiden Hall? That's a question to add to the whole thing with what happens with Richard Anderson. And yes, I do think it centers around them wanting to know, A, who is the position coach? Can you give us any indication? B, what does the future hold for Frank Wilson, who more or less spearheaded the recruitment of New Orleans kids who are coming out of schools like Carr and Ogg? And all of these are fair questions to ask. I just don't know if Kiffin will be able to give them those answers. So it's fluid right now. Like, I do believe Richard Anderson wants to play at LSU, but there's also this reality that things have changed staff-wise from where they were before, and how does that change his approach to it? Because, look, Frank's the interim head coach. That's through the bowl game. Well, Matt, what happens in January if Frank gets let go? Does that impact current players because the portal's about to open? Does that impact the recruits you're signing right now, who then might immediately hit the portal? I think that Ed Nicar, Bryce Brown, the people around them, their parents are just trying to avoid any more hurdles that could be put in place for their sons. So that going for, deep conversations with Lane, any conversation about, hey, where are we at? What does the future hold? And what should we do here? Because if not, we are going to need to delay this until we have more answers. And I think it's fair for both sides. Like I said, it's just the situation we're in. When you're hiring a new staff, you haven't publicly fired anyone from the old staff. Those guys are still in the ops building working too. And sort of simultaneously, you're putting together a signing class of the Ole Miss staff and who they want and have been recruiting, and then the LSU staff who has put together this class from the start.
Yeah. Shea, when the dust settles, we'll have to have you back, and we could talk more about what the ideal situation is to fix this sort of mess, or is this just going to be a part of it? But In the meantime, I know it's very fluid. We appreciate you for taking a couple of minutes. As always, make sure you get by On3, a part of the Rivals Network there, On3 the Bengal Tiger, and check out Shea here with signing day, the early signing period, opening up on Wednesday. Thank you, Shea.
I appreciate you having me on, Matt.
All right, man. Be well. It's After Further Review, brought to you by Supper Club. Actually got an invite today from a great client that invited Erica and me to their Christmas party over at Supper Club. So, listen, if you want to have your Christmas party, I don't know, see if it's against closer. It might be harder to reserve the space. But no matter if you want the little lounge area by the bar, if there's the private room, if there's a section of the restaurant that you want to have reserved, or if you want to reserve the entire restaurant, like that's a thing they can do as well. If you have, I'm sure you'd have a person minimum that you'd have to meet, and so on. But you have a party you want to have, Supper Club, there's no better place because it is the place to celebrate and have the greatest meal that you'll ever have. And look, they're back open today, Tuesday to Saturday. It's about 5 o'clock, about 90 minutes away. They'll be opening up the doors right there on Perkins Road. Always tell you, open seating at the bar. Look, you want to get a reservation to celebrate a birthday, an anniversary, a promotion, graduation, any great life event, have family coming in for Christmas around the holiday season. Supper Club is a great place to go have an amazing night out. But it's a great place just to go tonight, have a glass of wine, and have dinner at the bar. Supper Club. SupperClubBTR.com. SupperClubBTR.com. All right, y'all, it's After Further Review. Our Tuesday shows are powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. It's a very fluid day as we learn more about LSU's coaching staff, about the signing class as we move toward the early signing period tomorrow. We'll continue to keep you posted. Again, everything is up online at louisianasports.net. Always free, no paywalls, no article limits, no freemium, none of that sort of stuff. So check it out over at louisianasports.net, bookmark it, and share it out there. All right, it's After Further Review. We'll continue next.
AFR.
We're brought to you by our friends over at Glow Resources, glowresources.com, where they are complete employer solutions. They work for you, the business owner. As we move toward the end of 2025 into 2026, if you're thinking about how you can make your business more efficient, how you can improve your bottom line, well, you know this, if you run a business. And that's who we're talking to. We're talking to you, the business owner, the operations manager, the CEO, the vice president. If you're in operations, you're running a business, any size business, the right people are what make you the most efficient and the most profitable. So when it comes to getting the right people, if that inefficiency is costing you money, why not get it right the first time instead of having so much turnover in your organization? Let Glow Resources help. They'll cast their net far and wide to find the perfect person for your job that will stay. It's Glow Resources. GLO. GlowResources.com. GlowResources.com.
After Further Review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
I make a little room and she climbs on up. I open up a throttle and stir a little.
I'll tell you how wild this weekend was. I think for the first time in my adult life, I did not watch the New Orleans Saints play football on a Sunday. I think I casually passed by the TV a few times. I saw the Irish kicker made a 56-yarder. I saw Chris Olave catch a touchdown. I saw Devon Vele recover an onside kick. That's the extent of my knowledge of the game. It has been, y'all, I just being very candid with you, it has been a wild 6 weeks. Like you have those days where, and I'm not complaining, by the way, at all. I'm just trying to be relatable. Like, sometimes there's days where if you don't sleep much, you're tired. Like, you get so tired, you're nauseous. That's how I felt last night. Like, it's been a lot. Because the news cycle hasn't stopped for 6 weeks, from Brian Kelly being fired to the stuff with the governor to then the stuff with the president, and then Verge being placed as the full-time coach, and then you're getting back to games while the search was going on, and then Layla's here, and then all the everything. It's just been a continuous news cycle that hasn't really stopped. And you thought after Lane Kiffin was introduced it would slow. Well, now there's all the stuff about the staff and about signing day. And if you missed Shea Dixon just a moment ago, expect more flips. It certainly sounds like Jalen Chapman, Kenny Darby, the two LSU commitments today who have flipped out of who have decommitted. It sounds like they were purged. Now I hate that because they're guys who have been long committed to LSU. But the thing that I like about the early signing period, I'm not saying it has to be December the 3rd, but the thing I like about the December signing period is I've always said this, it makes both the school and the prospect show their cards. Like, are you actually loyal to this player? Now, this is different because you have a coaching change. But the point being is Kenny Darby and Jalen Chapman now, while they may not sign with anybody on Wednesday, now they have time as opposed to the old way where it was just the February signing period, where now you have time until the February signing period, or even if you're going to enroll somewhere for the spring semester, if you're an early enrollee, you can take all of December and into January. You can take the next 4 weeks to visit schools, to see what options are out there for you, and then enroll somewhere and sign your financial aid agreement and be enrolled somewhere for the spring semester and go through spring football or wherever you're going to sign. That's the benefit. Now, December 3rd makes it challenging as we go through the hiring cycle and everything going on. But that's one instance where the early signing period does, in fact, work to its desired outcome. Is it's going to give those guys opportunities, whereas in the old system, if a guy was committed and went all the way up to signing day, and the day before signing day in February, the school that he was committed to says, sorry, we don't have a spot, and they had shut down their recruitment, well, now you're SOL. That's one good thing about it. But apparently buckle up because, as according to Shea, there's more to come. Guys from the Ole Miss class that you're anticipating flipping into the LSU class, and potentially even more LSU guys that will be purged out of this class. We'll see how it goes. And as it transpires, we'll keep you up to date right here. Okay. It's after further review. We are brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints, Rouse's.com. You always go to the website, get the weekly ads. So you can see all the specials. Listen, I mean, it's the holidays. Holidays are expensive. Not only you have parties, people coming over, all that stuff. If you're buying gifts for coworkers and family and everything like that, the holidays are expensive. Maybe you need to buy on a budget. Go to Rouse's.com, hit the weekly ad tab, and you can make sure that you save over at Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com. Look, it's Tuesday. It's Sushi Tuesday. It's $5 Sushi Tuesday today and every Tuesday over at Rouse's. So swing on in on your way home, pick up some sushi for the entire family at Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com. Rouse's, this feels like home. Okay, do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference, the Kentucky Wildcats.
Kentucky has hired Oregon offensive coordinator Will Stein as their next head coach. He's from Louisville, so he's got deep ties to the state of Kentucky. He began his playing career with the Cardinals, but they're at Louisville, but grew up actually a Wildcat fan, as it says. But he'll replace Mark Stoops, who is Kentucky's all-time winningest coach, who was fired Sunday after 13 seasons with the Wildcats.
The Tennessee Volunteers.
Defensive lineman Jamal Wallace will enter the transfer portal. That's per his agency, A&P Sports, making that announcement on Monday. He is Kansas City native, 2 seasons at Sierra College in California before signing with Tennessee in 2024.
The Florida Gators.
Florida is expected to hire Brad White as John Sumrall's defensive coordinator there in Gainesville. Matt Zenitz had it first. White spent 6 years with the Indianapolis Colts before lining there with Kentucky. Spent 7 years there as Kentucky's defensive coordinator under Mark Stoops. Sumrall coached Kentucky's inside linebackers under White, by the way, when he was on staff there, and was the co-DC from 2019 to 2021.
The Vanderbilt Commodores.
So this is an interesting one. Rivals reported that 5-star quarterback Jared Curtis out of Nashville flipped from Georgia to Vanderbilt. You heard that right. 5-star quarterback flipped from Georgia to Vanderbilt, the number 2 prospect in the country. 6'3", 225, been committed to Georgia since May. Well, Curtis goes to social media and refutes the report. But all indications apparently are pointed to the Commodores. We'll see how it lands.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Alabama added edge Malik Franklin to the 2026 class. He's a 3-star out of Daphne, Alabama, 6'5", 250, the number 51 edge in the country. He's the 24th commit for the 2026 class.
The Arkansas Razorbacks.
And Arkansas landed in-state four-star Anthony Kennedy Jr. out of Little Rock. He's a four-star defensive lineman. 6'3", 334. Big old dude. He committed to Miami back in June, the 37th defensive lineman in the country. Okay, there you have it. That is Around the SEC Tuesday shows. Are powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Of course, all your farm equipment, plus zero-turn mowers, gators. Check them out. Sunequip.com. Sunequip.com. And they got John Deere toys as well for the kiddos this holiday. Give them a little toy tractor, a little riding tractor as well for the kiddos. Great toys to be put under the Christmas tree this Christmas morning from Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. All right, let me knock out a break, y'all. Final break of hour number one. Peter Burns in 13 minutes. I do want Peter's thoughts on the Lane saga, but also as the coaching carousel has stopped spinning now in the Southeastern Conference, I want to get his impression on how everything has fallen. We'll do that coming up here after the top of the hour on AFR.
After further review.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan, injury attorney. Saw Gordon yesterday at the Lane Kiffin press conference. Great supporter of Tiger Athletics. Get Gordon and get it done. Go to getgordon.com, getgordon.com. Want to find out more about all the NIL deals that Gordon does? You can do that. We're a week away from finding out the winners of the Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys bike giveaway. Gordon's giving away 600 free bicycles, and in 9 days, we will be at Gordon's office on December the 11th for the bike giveaway. Now, he's going to have the giveaways all over the state, so it doesn't matter in what part of Louisiana you live. You can register, so go to gordonsbikes.com, gordonsbikes.com, or at Get Gordon on any of the social media. Look for the free 600 free bike giveaway post, and you'll see how you can enter to win one of those. Gordon's trying to brighten up the holidays for 600 less fortunate children around Louisiana, and what an awesome thing to do. And we're happy to be a small part of it coming up on December the 11th. Get Gordon and get it done.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
She thinks my tractor's sexy.
I can sum it up by saying this place is different. And having watched this place for a long time, having been on the other sidelines in this stadium, this place is different, and that's why we're here. We have a lot of work to do with that, but I'm very grateful for the opportunity to lead one of the elite programs in all of sports.
As LSU coach Lane Kiffin, of course, introduced on Monday, and we are continuing to follow a pretty chaotic first couple of days here for Lane Kiffin as the LSU coach, as he tries to... This is no fault of his own or literally any coach. It's not just Lane Kiffin. It's going to be all of these coaches who are in new spots. It's going to be the same for John Summerall at Florida and Alex Golish at Auburn and Ryan Silverfield at Arkansas and literally all of these coaches now taking new jobs this weekend and having to hurriedly get on board and have a signing class and all this stuff that's going to happen. Shea Dixon from On3 was with us just a bit ago and said, look, you're going to expect more receiver flips coming. Kenny Darby has decommitted from LSU. That sounds like that was a purge. Someone that the Lane Kiffin and his staff came in and it's probably best if you look elsewhere. Another receiver committed to LSU is no longer committed to LSU. This just some breaking news here just minutes ago. Kervin Johnson, the three-star wide receiver, not only has decommitted from LSU, he has flipped to Ole Miss. So he's now committed to Pete Golding and the Ole Miss Rebels. Kervin Johnson was the second lowest-rated player in LSU's class. I don't mean for that to any way be disrespectful or dismissive, but the two lowest rated prospects in LSU's class coming into the day with Jalen Chapman and now with Kervin Johnson are no longer committed to LSU. And Lane Kiffin, when he met with reporters at his press conference, when he was talking about building a roster, I don't know that I want the full 44 seconds, but it's number 20. This is Lane talking about signing day and their plan to build a roster.
That was the number one priority and is the number one priority right now. It goes dead where we can't go out right now. Yesterday, people could come up to the office. So that is our number one focus right now is to sign the best class that we possibly can Wednesday. Also, we have big picture thinking too. So we're not reaching or we're not signing kids because they're from this school or that school or any of that stuff, okay? We're going to sign the best players that we can on Wednesday.
We're not reaching. We're not signing kids because they're from this school or that school. And it's pretty obvious here what's going on there, right? So they've come in, they've evaluated the commits, and they're making decisions about who is going to be in this class and who's not, and it's their prerogative to do it, but expect it to be tumultuous. So you've added 4-star tight end J.C. Anderson, and then the 2 lowest rated commitments in the class are now out, along with Kenny Darby, and we are expecting there will be more additions come Wednesday. So buckle up. It's going to be fascinating theater to watch. We are brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Energy-efficient replacement windows, beautiful entry doors, hardy plank vinyl siding. They do it all. You ever stand by a window during the cold weather months and you can just feel that draft? That's because you have costly air leaks. You want to eliminate those costly air leaks? Custom windows measured to the exact specification of your home from Relief Windows. That comes with a lifetime transferable warranty on labor, material, and glass breakage. They're just the best. It's Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Check them out online, ReliefWindows.com. Okay, y'all, we're going to knock out an hour, a break here. SportsCenter's coming up. Get you caught up on national headlines. Peter Burns of the SEC Network here to kick off Hour 2 next.
After further review.
And make sure you check out our friends over at Parish Restoration if you haven't yet. This is a great time of year. So often when we talk about Parish Restoration, we're talking about it in terms of remediation, right? So you have water intrusion, you have mold. That's certainly a great way that they go about helping people, either at your home or your business. But it's so much more than that. It's sanitization as well. Parish Restoration, their patented non-toxic dry fog, can knock out dozens of harmful pathogens. So not only will it kill mold, not only will it remove odor, but it can also sanitize. So if you have flu going around the office or COVID or something along those lines, or your home, they can come in, spray, it'll kill everything down to the spores. Dozens of harmful pathogens. It's more cost-effective, it's more effective, it's more efficient. It's Parish Restoration. So go to parishrestoration.com and just fill out the form on the homepage. Parishrestoration.com. That's parishrestoration.com. Just fill out the form at the homepage.